Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. On today's video, we are going to be talking about how to condition your dog to wearing a muzzle. This video has been requested, so I'm very excited to be making this for you guys. And before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe so that we can make more videos like this. And I just want to say that it really does help and support our channel and its growth. We've recently hit 10K and our next goal is 100K, so that would be really special. And if you guys could subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Without any further ado, let's get into this video. So there are a couple reasons why you might want to have a muzzle on a dog. Reason number one, let's say your dog isn't feeling that well, you need to go to the vet. Your dog may act out of a reaction or an instinct, not necessarily because it's aggressive. So it's a good idea just to have a muzzle on your dog. I'm sure that for many of you, maybe you've had an instance in which you had to take your dog in the vet, maybe muzzle the dog just as a safety precaution, not because there's some kind of behavioral issue or anything like that. So that's one reason why you might want to consider getting your dog just used to wearing a muzzle, right? Another reason is that a muzzle really allows you to work with a dog that may be aggressive or reactive in a safe manner. Let's say you have a dog that has issues with reactivity and they have a really good obedience foundation, and you want to start taking them to the next level. You want to start taking them out to a park or in areas that there may be more triggers for them, right? The only way that you can get your dog to stop reacting to those triggers is by actually putting them in that situation and working on those issues through with your dog, right? Now, if your dog has aggression issues, this becomes very difficult for owners. So a muzzle is actually useful in this situation in that it allows you to expose your dog to different environments that may have those triggers in a very safe manner. That is the second reason why you may consider on conditioning your dog to wearing a muzzle. Don't think of the muzzle as a band-aid solution, so that you're just going to put the muzzle on and just go with your dog that has no obedience training and aggression issues and just take them to a park. That's not going to be helpful for you or for the dog. Think of a muzzle as a tool and a way that's going to help you get to your destination that you want to in terms of training with your dog. So for example, there may be a situation in which you may not be comfortable having your dog in, right, unless they were muzzled. If they're muzzled, you have that worry of them maybe nipping somebody goes out the door, and you can really just focus on getting them redirected and working on their obedience. Lastly, this is pretty unfortunate, but it's actually true, and I have mentioned this on my channel before. There are some townships and some states that have breed-specific legislation, meaning that it's really like an umbrella term for some states or some townships have these certain rules or restrictions for certain breeds that can altogether ban the breed or just put limitations and restrictions on the ownership of a certain breed. So for example, in a certain township, I can't remember where, in Pennsylvania, they are thinking about putting an ordinance for dogs over 25 pounds to wear a muzzle in public locations. Unfortunately, there were very bad situations with aggression and other dogs that were larger. So that is also a reason why you may want to have your dog muzzle trained. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty. We already talked over the reasons why you may be thinking about getting your dog conditioned to a muzzle. So now I just want to explain to you guys how. I don't think you guys understand or realize how bad Dante's reactivity issues were, because I've talked about them here. I've always been transparent with you guys about how the first trainer we took him to left a very bad impression on him. The YouTube channel didn't exist at that time when we were going through all of those issues with Dante. So you guys have only seen Dante being the obedient boy that he is now, but he wasn't always like that. It was unfortunate, but he did have a bad experience at the training center that we took him to that made him very protective and reactive with us in terms of other people, right? So once we took him to a different trainer to start to address those issues properly, we had to take all the safety precautions. Dante has never bitten anyone, but we didn't want to take any risks, and we just wanted to act very responsibly. Having a muzzle on Dante would just allow the trainer to be able to perform any technique or teach us how to address any kind of reactivity issues for Dante without worrying about, hey, could this dog nip me? For me, muzzle conditioning came in at that point of Dante's life. The way that we got Dante conditioned to wearing a muzzle took a little bit of time. So the first thing that we did was we wanted Dante to have a positive association with the muzzle, meaning that we weren't going to put a muzzle on him every time we went to meet his trainer, because already going to the trainer was a very stressful moment for him and it was very intense. So we didn't want him to associate that intensity or that moment with him having a muzzle on. We didn't want him to have a negative association. So what we did was that we would have Dante on the wearing a muzzle in the house, wearing a muzzle anytime we went somewhere he really liked. If we went to a park or anything of that nature, that's when we would have the muzzle on him. That way he would just get used to it as, oh hey, it's like putting my collar on, right? So that's something that we did, and that's something that I would recommend for you to do to help your dog associate the muzzle with just another thing that's on his, you know, on his self, and that it's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, with making sure and building a foundation for Dante to have a positive association with the muzzle, we also were making sure that we would correct any kind of protest to wearing the muzzle. So what I would simply do if Dante would, you know, try to paw at his muzzle or try to, like, you know, scratch at it with his face, he would do this thing that, like, he would try to, like, scratch at it with his face. I can't really explain it. Yeah, and I can't really get footage of it because he doesn't do it anymore. But if he would just kind of do anything that would demonstrate a protest for wearing the muzzle, I would just simply leash pop him and verbally correct him. I would say off. And that's what I would do repeatedly. Anytime he would try to, you know, scratch at his muzzle, paw at his muzzle, or anything like that. And the reason you don't want your dog to be in protest for the muzzle is because you want to create this idea of, like, hey, it's this thing on your face and that's it. It's no big deal. If they're constantly scratching at it, their mind is on it and they can't get off of it. So it all goes and ties in with that positive association that you want to have with the dog. It's just like having a collar on or a leash on. It's nothing for your dog to be scratching at, right? And not only that, but you also don't want your dog to be giving himself unnecessary friction on his face or anything like that. So that's what I would do. I would, anytime Dante would protest, just because it was this new thing, right? Especially in the initial stages of him getting conditioned to wearing the muzzle, I would do a leash pop and verbally correct him with off. Hey guys, sorry about that. I just had to, I don't know if the thing looks weird now, but I need to switch my battery because it ran out. But what I was saying was that if you have a dog that's very anxious and doesn't like to have things in their face in general, you might just have to start in actual baby steps. So, like, let's say, like, this is your dog's muzzle, right? It's the bone. And just you getting anywhere near it, the dog starts running away. Don't force the muzzle on the dog, obviously, because, again, you are trying to make positive associations, right? What you would want to do is just in baby steps. If your dog is not okay with having the muzzle this close to him, go over here. If your dog doesn't react, good boy, yeah, give him a little treat, do something, closer and closer and closer until you can put it on your dog's face, right? Now, if your dog has severe aggression issues and you can't get the muzzle on because you're afraid that your dog is gonna bite you, even before you try to get the muzzle on, look for help from a professional trainer. Look for somebody that's going to be able to give you, that will be able to give you safe instructions on how you can do it. Now, I'm always very, very, very judicious with the type of information or recommendations or advice that I give through this channel here, and as well as personal DMs, because I can only see so much. And it's difficult for me to give specific instructions about a situation, especially if I don't know the dog or if I don't know what triggers it, because you can be telling me one thing, but there can be so many other things that are going around. So please, if you are having issues like that, you need to find a professional. Before I mentioned that muzzle training is a tool, and it shouldn't be a crutch, right? It shouldn't be that you put the muzzle on and then you go out with your aggressive dog, your reactive dog, who barely has any obedience foundation, and you expect that that's going to go well. It's not going to be beneficial for you or beneficial for the dog. So there are a lot of things that have to be done before you actually get to a point that the muzzle can be useful for you. It shouldn't just be like, oh, we're having people over and we don't know how to address the issue, so let's just try to put a band-aid over it. If have the muzzle on, then he bites nobody. That's not how it should be used, right? If you're having a dog that has aggression or reactivity or anything like that, you need to find a professional to help you and get you and your dog on the right track. What's most important is for your dog to have a very, very good obedience foundation, right? Even if, so that when you get to a point that you want to go to the next step in which you want to take them out to places that might have bigger distractions or might have their triggers, your dog will be able to listen to you no matter what the distraction is. So you're not going to be going out with layers and layers and layers of problems. To wrap up the video, those were the reasons that you may want to start to condition your dog to the muzzle. And the way that we conditioned it for Dante was we just made sure that he always had a positive association with the muzzle. We never forced it on him. We had it on him in places that he enjoyed to be in the house casually, so that when we did have to go out to a place that was very stressful for him or that may have the triggers that he had or that would cause him to react or bark or whatever, it wouldn't be the muzzle that was giving that negative association or amplifying his behavior. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys have any of your own experience having your dogs wear a muzzle at any time. But yeah, just let me know and see you guys later. Bye. Say bye, Peachy girl. I love you.